The problem is, in predicting the future, you never know what's ahead.
I believe that it's actually fuel cells and wireless energy, which will create devices. Now, I'm not just talking about cell phones and things like that. I'm talking about places where you can now interact with people 24 hours a day, no matter where they are.
Here's what I screwed it up. Yogi Berra said it. He said the problem with the future is you never know how it's going to turn out.
So the biggest advancement I see in the next 15 to 20 years will be having the ability to understand what happens when convergence occurs.
To me, it's going to be the convergence of things like the internet and television, or the internet and phone. Smartphones, another example. It's a convergence of multiple mediums that's very powerful.
I think you're going to see some changes where the television station becomes of less relevance. And I think you'll eventually go at night on your computer and select the 5 episodes you might want to watch that night, and they'll come in that way as opposed to an over-the-air television station.
Well, that's the same thing. I mean, I have trouble with, like, thinking about my garden this spring. I'm sorry I can't be more responsible on that one, but that's really how I feel about it.
I think online's gonna be the hottest thing still. It's gonna be, you know, I think of the last 5 years, what technology has been like. I think there's some real exciting things about to happen. And I think doing my field is gonna be even easier and more exciting in the next 20 years. I really can't wait for it, because I know that there's gonna be a lot of that, you know, it's almost like 3D-ish looking interviews I'll be able to do with my clients.
Well, Sony's betting on 3D. And Avatar was pretty impressive in 3D. So they figure that communication is going to be a 3D medium, not just 2D. You know, I have mixed feelings on that.
I think what we're going to see in the future is very much what we saw in Minority Report. You know, all this technologies where people, when a person walks into a business, there's biometrics that say, hey, Kevin has come into our store, or he's nearby. We learn from his Facebook profile that he's going on a trip. Perhaps we should sell him a new camera for his trip. So as he gets by to the electronics store, says, hey, we know you're going on a trip, and perhaps you need a new camera.
Personalized advertising. You're walking by a store and, you know, they say, hey, Kevin, come on in, and you need this, you know, pair of 33-inch waist jeans. It basically communicate to you when you're walking by a store, or send a text message to your phone. I think those things are going to be, they're coming. It's just a matter of when they kind of launch on a bigger platform to the public.
I do think it's going to come back and be more personal, be more one-to-one. The technologies, it's sort of separate us and put us on these computer networks and put us, the computers will become ubiquitous with our lives. There'll be things we wear, things that we operated, they're going to be built into, you know, our I don't even know, like a button on our shirt, they're going to be so small. And it'll be back to people and social interaction, and I think that's the way it's going to be, rather than these big devices that we use and we communicate on.
It is interesting to see, you know, I mean, even in light of something like, you know, like the latest, you know, like atrocities and things like that, and like some of the natural disasters, like how quickly we can help people, how quickly, you know, people can get engaged in doing that sort of thing. I mean, that's encouraging to see, like how quickly people can network and come together for a cause. I mean, I'd like to see more of that.
I expect the pendulum maybe to swing back a bit towards not technology being the core, but relationships and how you build those relationships through communication. So maybe it's not necessarily the technological advancement we've seen over the last 20, but a deepening of customer intimacy and relationships.
All this great technology is gonna, I don't want to say it's gonna level off, but you know, we're gonna get everybody wired and it's gonna work, right? So I think there's a big opportunity as people become comfortable with it and it becomes part of our everyday life to return to that customer relationship that we used to have.
I think it could be the shoe.
The shoe?
The shoe.
So why the shoe?
Why the shoe? Well, do you remember that TV sitcom Get Smart? he talked into it, right? Communication. You're certainly going to be able to take a picture with one soon. You can you'll be able to blow things up.
Well, over the next 5 to 10 years, the big advancement is going to be the growth of mobile technology. And with that is a continued need to really focus on the individual. And technology will really be geared toward solving individual problems, communicating on an individual level. So that means big brands can speak to you now on a one-to-one level on a very simple and regular basis.
Looking at the next 20 years, I think you have to start out with mobile. All these wonderful things that we've been able to do have continued to evolve to the point where they can get pushed down into the hands of the individual consumer.
I think mobile's going to just take off. I think it's going to go to the next level. And I really think that the computer and the cell phone is going to be one unit. And I think that unit is going to allow us to communicate with the consumer directly and instantaneously. Don't know how that all's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen.
I'm just more and more fascinated by handheld devices and the iTunes, the iPod apps, and what you can do with a BlackBerry, and just we seem to be on a cusp of that revolution right now. Clearly, there's tens of thousands of apps already available that can do all kinds of different things, but. Just looking back on the last 20 years and looking at where we are right now, I think we're more at the beginning of what the handheld revolution is going to mean, and we probably can't even really understand what it's going to be like 20 years from now, but it's going to be amazing.
It certainly seems like we're moving towards a single platform, single mobile device of some character. Who knows what that will be, whether it's the next generation iPad or the next iteration of a smartphone. But it certainly seems like there is an incredible convergence of media, and it does seem like it's converging into some single hardware device that becomes the core of our. In some ways, it could become the core of our everyday life.
I think it's handheld and mobile. And, right now, you have to pry it out of my dead cold hands, and I think that that's really, particularly from a younger demo that's going to be evolving, that's where it's going to be, that individual one-to-one, the entity that you hang with you, and it does everything. And, yeah, maybe it is a jack in the back of your head at some point in time. It doesn't look that far-fetched these days. I'm not sure if that's good or that's bad, but I think that that kind of being embedded, whether it be figuratively or literally, seems to be where we're going with the internet.
If I knew, I'd bet on it. I have no clue, but I would think mobile devices probably would do things that we have no idea right now, and it would be in the palm of everyone's hand. So I would think that, sitting here today, that looks like that would be it, but 5 years from now, we may say, where'd that come from, whatever that is, and it'll be that.
I think for the most part, the unpredictability of where we're going is going to be the norm. And the only thing that I find comfort or solace in that is that it gets back to, can we tell a good story? Can we deliver an authentic and relevant message for our clients? And as long as we have that as sort of a base foundation, predicting how we do that and what channels we're going to go through, that's on a year-by-year basis.
Boy, where it's going, smaller, better, faster, no clue. Who knows? Do you know?